everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Extra Innings. I'm your host, Elizabeth Kuhn, joined by our baseball analyst, Mark Stroia, who's actually soaking up the sun in Florida. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just been come down here to play golf with a couple buddies after a long season of umpiring high school baseball. So, just got off the golf course about an hour or so ago, and so looking forward to spending a few days down here. That's for sure.
Absolutely enjoy it. Soak up the sun and bring some back. We're headed into we're headed into the last week of the regular season. So for this episode, we wanted to do some playoff predictions. So Mark, let's start in Division 4. What teams have really proved that they deserve to make that trip to East Lansing this year?
Well, I think Division 4 is really interesting because we have number 1 East Jordan, number 3 Indian River, and number 17 Gaylord St. Mary's. If they all win their districts, they will all be in the same regional. So I think the team that is going to could go possibly all the way in Division 4 is going to come out of that regional. That's for sure. So, and then also you can't count out Beale City. Beale City is ranked as well. They've been there year after year, it seems like. So you can't count them out. But I think those 4 teams are definitely teams to watch in Division 4.
And are there any teams in Division 4 that have surprised you this season?
East Jordan, they rose to the top of the rankings, and I think they have only lost 7 games this year. They've really had a good year, and that kind of surprised me. They've always been a decent program, but they've really had an exceptional year this year.
Absolutely, and as the playoffs, start, anything can happen. So, we're excited to see how everything plays out. Moving on to Division 3, what teams really rose to the top in this division?
Yeah, I think you have to look at Edison in this year's finals. They lost last year in the finals, so they were runner-up. They're well coached. They play a really tough non-conference schedule. Last weekend, they were in a mini tournament over at Saline, in which they came away with 2 victories over 2 quality opponents. They beat Saline and they beat Fenton by 1-run games, and those teams are very tough. So, they're playing the tough teams in the non-conference, and then when they get into their division, that really helps them. So you got to look at them. Also, Ecorse is a surprise team. Ecorse from the Downriver area, they're having a heck of a year. You got to look at them. And then also 2 teams that have been up there year after year, Algonac and Clinton. Clinton from the southern part of Michigan, they play very good baseball, and they're good year after year. They seem to go deep into the playoffs. So I think those 4 teams are the front runners in Division 4.
And you mentioned it a little bit, but, how important is it to have that tough non-conference schedule that really prepares you for, this later half of the season?
Absolutely. I mean, you play the tough teams in your non-conference games, and it really prepares you. You get to work on things in non-conference games. You get to work on maybe a squeeze play or different things that sometimes you don't want to try in league games, or you want to work on them so you can try them in league games. But yeah, by playing a tough schedule, your batters see top-notch pitching. Your pitchers are facing top-notch hitters. So it's just good all the way around, if you can play very good opponents in a non-league schedule.
Absolutely, and we're excited to see, how this division plays out for this playoff season. And moving on to Division 2, what teams do you think are going to make a run? This has been a tough division in this state championship.
Well, you have to look at Liggett first off. They're the team to beat. So they're having a great year, as we well know. Coach Samini and his squad are there year after year. They're always at the state finals, it seems. This year they broke the winning streak of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. So they're the team to beat, if you ask me. You also have Grand Rapids Christian. They're always a fixture deep into the playoffs. And then the surprise team, not really a surprise team, but the team nobody wants to play is New Boston Huron. New Boston Huron has a lot of senior leadership. They have some really, really good pitching. So that's a team teams don't want to play, definitely. So I think that's basically what Division 2 looks like.
Absolutely. And moving on lastly to Division 1. We mentioned a lot of different teams this season in Division 1, but which one stuck out in particular for you?
We're going to talk about Northville and Bay City Western. Both teams have excellent coaches. Northville's John Castiva, Bay City Western, Tim McDonald. Both coaches have been there for a very long time. Both teams have been there as far as the state semifinals and finals. They play top-notch league games as well. Both teams have several D1 commits. So yeah, these two teams, I think, one of these two teams will definitely be holding the trophy at MSU.
And you said before, they've been there. They've done that. So how do they really rise to the top and get the job done?
Well, being there with the experience, going deep into the playoff years after year, when these kids are used to playing under pressure, their coaches are the same way. They coach and they tell their kids, hey, we've been there before. That really helps. So you get good leadership, and you have some of these juniors and seniors that have been there. That just kind of trickles down with the rest of the squad, and it's a big advantage. So.
Absolutely, and we're really looking forward to the playoffs. Is there any other team that you want to mention that you really see making a run in the playoffs this season?
I say keep an eye out too for downriver, Allen Park. Allen Park's having a heck of a year. They kind of rose to the top down there in Allen Park, maybe overtaking Woodhaven for the year being. For the time being, but Allen Park has had a heck of a year. They're really well coached, a lot of talent on that team. So look for Allen Park in Division I, that's for sure.
We're going to step aside and throw it to Lauren Plant with this week's In the Dugout.
Let me ask you this. Do you think about 2020 and the season that could have been, considering that you guys were coming off a district title the season before? You had, I think, a really good chance of being better than you were the year before. You guys were deep, especially on the mound.
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I was thinking about it a lot yesterday when my number one pitcher was in our dugout. He was back. He went to Dordt University. He's in the transfer portal. So we come by, and it was Nick Yeager. And we had him first week of practice at 88. And that's a big arm for us. I mean, we're not getting the guys that are playing 92 all the time. We do a lot of developing. I mean, Nick, for example, he was 72, 73 as a freshman, and we developed him for 3 years. It was going into his senior year. He was 88 in his first bullpen, and things shut down. It was like, wow. And we did have a good team, and I think about it a lot because especially I feel bad for those seniors. I mean, we could have did some damage. Ben Stasiak was on that team. He's playing at Madonna with another kid, Jake Rubis, he was a sidearm pitcher and up and down. We were doing, and he had a really good junior year and was almost unhittable. And we were just ready to do some work. We didn't have a bunch of seniors that year, but I've had good teams that didn't have a lot of seniors. You don't need seniors to win. You need people that are committed and that have bought in and that work hard. So sometimes that even works better than seniors, depending on the type of season you're having. Sometimes they can check out on you a little bit early too. So
no doubt.
To check out that full interview, just head on over to the State Champs YouTube page. All you need to do is search State Champs Net. All right, we've got one more week until we head into the playoffs. So we've got some big matchups. Mark, which ones are you looking forward to most?
The game I'm really looking forward to is the rematch with Heartland versus Northville. They played a doubleheader early in the season. Northville won both of those games convincingly. They weren't even close. Heartland's been red hot the last month of the season, and they're looking to get their revenge, that's for sure. They've been playing really, really well. Division II this Saturday, number 4 in D3, Ecorse plays number 3 in D2, Airport. Airport has been a good program year after year, it seems like. For a lot of years, they're really well coached. Ecorse is an up-and-coming team, and they want to get where Airport is at. So this is their chance, and this is a big opportunity for Ecorse to prove to people they can play some baseball against some good quality opponents. And then the next game, we're going to go way up to East Jordan, way up in northern Michigan. They're number 1 in D4. They're 19-5 this year, coming off a doubleheader loss to Charlevoix a week ago. So they're really looking to rebound against Johannesburg, Lewiston in this one to get back on track. But yeah, East Jordan is number 1, and look for them to get back on track and make a big run deep into the playoffs this year.
Absolutely, and that's all we've got for this episode of Extra Innings. Mark, make sure you bring some sunshine back with you from Florida and enjoy your trip. It is well deserved. State Champs Extra Innings is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious. Make magic. Visit ltu.edu. Extra Innings is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud sponsor of the MHSAA. The Michigan High School Baseball Coaches Association. For information on awards, clinics, rankings, and this year's All-Star Games, visit mhsbca.org. The Detroit Athletic Club Foundation Male and Female Athlete of the Year Awards. Who will be this year's award winners? Find out live June 5th, only on the State Champs Sports Network.